What's up, everybody? I don't really take care of how I look today, you know? Like, I got my face all crummy looking. Regardless, though, I read all the James Bond short stories. I listened to them all. They're all on YouTube. So while I was walking, cleaning, doing whatever I was doing, I had them things going. I'll tell you what, man, that's super entertaining. Way more entertaining than I was expecting it to be. I was ready to kind of crap on it. So I listened to Octopussy, The Living Daylights, The Property of a Lady, 007 in New York, From a View to a Kill, For Your Eyes Only, The Hildebrand Rarity, Quantum of Solace, Risico, my favorite, the best, super good. They used it in For Your Eyes Only. I don't want to sit here and rattle off the plots in 9 short stories. Ain't nobody got time for that. But I can tell you some of the differences between what I read in the short stories and the experience of watching a James Bond film. Anyway, before I start off, I gotta say, the Living Daylights, Octopussy, Property of a Lady, I listened to Tom Hiddleston reading those short stories, and yo, that guy should play James Bond. So here's the main thing about James Bond's character. It's kind of ignored, this portion of his character, through most of the people that portray him. But James Bond hates his job. He kind of hates his life. He's, on every job he goes on, he's just like questioning whether or not he's doing the right thing, upset about how nothing in life is truly as it seems. And like in From a View to a Kill, he's talking about how Paris has hoarded itself out, how the myth of spring in Paris is dead, like the romance of the city is no longer there. It's been sold to the fastest bidder. And that's the background for his desire for romance in the city when he meets whatever that chick's name is. Continually in these stories, I would see James be upset, tired, hating his job, try to solve this dissatisfaction by expensive cars and high-class items, pretty much the classiest, flashiest objects and women that capitalism can offer. And that is why, at least from what I've read, that's the main reason why Ian Fleming will spend so much time describing what brand of socks he's going to buy in New York, or what brand of club soda that he puts in his soda and brandy. Because to James, these things matter a whole lot. These are the things that James can cling on to, the things that aren't going to be gone tomorrow because somebody killed them. It takes a little bit more to kill a brand, especially in the 50s and 60s, right? Those are the anchors of his life. Those are the things that give him joy. Kind of interesting looking at it that way, because without that context, as I read it, it seems very much like the focus on materialism would exist only to serve the greed and lust of the reader, to serve your escapism. Like, man, I wish I had Izod socks. Or, oh yeah, Winston's, that's the brand, that's the brand to smoke. But those things matter to Bond because everything else is gonna die. Everything dies. Capitalism is forever. I don't know if I mean to excuse that. Personally, I think I enjoyed that materialistic side of things for my own escapist fantasy, especially since this whole sudden reading of James Bond came in the middle of me reading Stoner by John Williams, which is so wildly different. Stoner is like the joy and beauty of Christmas morning, and you run under the Christmas tree and every package you open up is just socks. James Bond is more like the movie that you see on Christmas. That's not going to keep your feet warm, but it will entertain you for an hour and a half. Also, Sean Connery is the only person to really bring up that sense of not wanting to be where he is. Sean Connery is the only James Bond character who will stand there looking around like he doesn't give a crap about anything he sees. Like in his mind, he's somewhere else, going through a Macy's catalog in his brain or whatever. All the other people to play Bond replace that disinterested look with some kind of cold stoicism, which, sure, it works for him being a brute in a monkey suit, but it takes away that very critical point for the excess of the story to have a balance. If he's just a sophisticated brute and he has these, freaking Rolex watches and Aston Martin cars, it's not the same as if he's got Rolexes and Aston Martins and he just doesn't care. Okay, so the next thing about Bond's character is his intuition, which is very active. He explicitly says quite a lot, or a few times at the very least, that Bond's intuition will lead him somewhere in the property of a lady. As he's getting the briefing from M about the Fabergé sphere or whatever, he gets the intuitive flash that they should go to the auction themselves to try to find the KGB higher up that will be pumping the price. There's written in plain English, oh, it's his intuition, which you can ignore very easily unless you know that Ian Fleming was very, I don't know if involved is the right way to say it, but he knew very key players in the ritual magic circles of his day. He knew Arthur Waite from the tarot deck that you have upstairs. He knew the devil, what's his name? The guy who ate his semen out of his lust for power. What's his name? Arthur Cronkite? Arthur something. I forgot his name. Anyway, the bald guy. All the Bond villains are channeled to that guy, and every Bond story is based on the alchemical process, turning lead to gold and merging the masculine and the feminine, yada yada yada. Of course, James Bond's intuition would matter because James Bond in the story is very much a trumped up copy of Ian Fleming himself when he was in the secret whatever in the Second World War. It was really cool to see it play out in The Living Daylights. I'm gonna spoil it for you. Whatever, you know what the deal is. This is I ain't finna read that. In The Living Daylights, when he's doing his little mission looking for the KGB shooters, gonna shoot their man 727 or 272, whatever. He's watching as the days pass this all women's violin crew, whatever, orchestra, go in and out this building, and he just gets obsessed, has this romance in his head with this one cello player who just catches his eye. He's just staring at this cello player wondering, what's she doing? Does her life suck as bad as his life does? When the time finally arrives for him to take out that KGB trigger, the trigger man is that woman. Is it a coincidence? That's the woman that time stopped for? Who cares, really? You know the game. If you know, you know. So it's cool to see that play out in the stories. I really can't think of a way for that to be tied into the movies, especially now. It's been 50 years and it hasn't really mattered. Ian Fleming's writing style is no Stephen King, okay? The movies are action movies. They're dang near cartoons. You watch them, see gun go pow pow, car go fast, girl flash titty, wow. In the book, he's painting pictures an awful lot of the time. You can't rush him when he's painting that picture, which I don't mind, especially now when I'm reading Stoner. There's a difference though with a book like Stoner or Stranger compared to these Fleming shorts. Now that I'm done reading these Fleming shorts, I can't really chew on it the way I chewed on Stoner, or I'm chewing on Stoner the way I chewed on The Stranger. These joints are more like fast food. I read them and I enjoyed them, after The Living Daylights, so I was just like, wow. I felt that, especially Risiko was my favorite, man. And even Risiko had an ending which was ambiguous, because there's no definitive answer. Yes, I'm spoiling it for you. It's still a good read. Risiko had this ending where the guy that he thought he was going to kill, he ended up siding with to kill the guy who hired him on. And when it's over, he's got this weird feeling in his stomach, like nothing was quite right. I can only assume that that story that he told earlier about how in this business, drug running, you'll be searching for one dealer who's getting his foot in the door, and after he gets caught, the real wolf is laughing as he hears the hunt die down behind him, which I assume is what happened in this book. He doesn't say it explicitly, but I gotta assume that's what happened, which is why I felt like this book was the sickest, and I feel like Roger Moore really took a giant wet dump on what that story could have been, especially the action sequence. If I'm reading a book and the book I'm reading sounds better than the movie I saw, I feel like he kind of dropped the ball with that. I guess that's the same problem I have with Game of Thrones for the action sequences at the very least. But anywho, Risiko, 5 stars. But that was maybe the deepest thing that I had to chew on, was that concept of, oh, maybe the bad guy is still out there. And that's just not the same as the myriad of ridiculous thought patterns I was mulling over after reading The Stranger. I think that's it, man. I do think I want to get more into more like pulpy novels, like more fast food. I think it kind of ruined the movies for me a little bit. It's fine. I got a Patreon. I have a Discord. So catch me on Discord. Link down below. It might just be you and me for a minute, because I just made it. But let's be real, I don't have anyone else to talk to about these books. You feel me? Like, it's just me and Bernardo, and that's it. So, join the fun, or whatever this is. Alright, peace.